You cannot. You see that? And you cannot look. Okay. One way this is going to go, you're going to end up knocked down unconscious. I can bring for class, I can bring
Francesca.
Sheer blatancy.
Sometimes the internet tells you a story, and sometimes you have to walk straight into it to see for yourself.
Don't touch that, you get...
No, not get it.
This one.
Aspetta.
Back in 2018, in the middle of a heated election season in Italy, Tommy Robinson found himself standing in one of the busiest and most tense places in Rome, outside the city's main train station, where a disturbing video had just gone viral.
In Rome to cover the Italian election, I come across a video online of a reporter being attacked by migrants live on air, not far from where I was staying.
Succede in una stazione centrale in Italia di notte. Francesca.
Molti di loro provengono dall'Africa centrale, alcuni dalla zona del Maghreb, ma ti devo dire, Nicola, anche parlando un po' con loro, quasi tutti sono stanziali qui alla stazione Termini. Domani mattina riporranno le loro coperte, riporranno i loro cartoni e torneranno nuovamente qui a dormire, ancora una volta. Perché la loro speranza è quella di raggiungere soprattutto Milano e altre città del nord e poi spostarsi nel nord Europa. Non li vorremmo disturbare oltre, perché però è importante sapere che questa è l'accoglienza che noi siamo stati aggrediti.
Che succede, Francesca? Francesca?
Ci hanno aggrediti, Nicola.
Beh, ma tu vattene via.
The video showed a female journalist being attacked by a group of North African migrants. It shocked a lot of people. And instead of commenting from afar, Tommy decided to go there himself, camera rolling, to see what was actually happening on the ground.
This attack shocked me. I tried to start digging deeper into Italy's spate of high-profile migrant attacks and found that this was far from the worst. Just in December, a Somali migrant dressed as a nurse, he snuck into a hospital and he attempted to rape a woman who was giving labour. The same year, a Polish tourist was gang-raped on a beach in Verona while her partner was beaten and forced to watch. Think about that. It's horror stories. In 2018, an 18-year-old woman was killed by a Nigerian migrant and her dismembered body stuffed into suitcases. That just happened months ago. Even just this year again, just minutes from where the journalist was attacked, a 75-year-old German woman was raped in a park. So I went to go see for myself.
You see, the thing about places like this is that they feel normal until they don't. As Tommy and his cameraman arrived, the atmosphere was off. Groups of young men hanging around, drinking, arguing, tourists moving quickly, heads down, locals keeping their distance. No one looked relaxed, and no one looked safe.
To the areas I was warned not to go to as a journalist. I wanted to find out what was going on there. We'd only been in the area for a mere minutes when the migrants hanging around began to notice the camera. One of them even going for my cameraman.
They began filming as usual without shouting or causing any provocation, just documenting what was happening. That's when the atmosphere changed. One man noticed the camera and immediately became aggressive. He rushed toward the cameraman, trying to grab the equipment, shouting and threatening. In seconds, the situation went from uncomfortable to dangerous.
Clearly they didn't want anyone filming.
No, no, get him. I'll put your sleep off. I'll put your sleep.
Get the fuck away from the camera. The fuck away from the camera.
You tried to touch our camera. Yes, don't fucking try and touch the camera then. I told you that 5 times. Keep your life.
I will keep my life. You're not going to take my fucking life. Well, you think you're going to take my fucking life? Take my fucking life.
Right.
I'll get him 5
And you cannot. You cannot. You see that? And you cannot. Look.
Tommy stepped in to shield his cameraman. Words were exchanged. The man made a direct threat. At that point, things boiled over. A brief physical clash followed and the man went down.
You're going to end up knocked down unconscious.
Despite all the shouting, Tommy stood his ground, repeating one thing over and over. He was there as a journalist, showing what tourists and locals were already afraid to talk about. Minutes later, police arrived.
was shocked.
The cops eventually separated everyone, took statements, and arrested the man who had started the confrontation. Tommy and his cameraman were escorted away, shaken but unharmed. Here is Tommy speaking directly to the camera, connecting what happened in Rome to wider stories coming out of Italy and across Europe.
Same spot, a female journalist was dragged down the street live on air. A group of migrants would attempt to attack my cameraman, threatening to kill me. The video of the journalist being dragged down the street is nearly 2 years old, but clearly it's not a one-off, and things in Italy obviously haven't improved. These kind of crimes taking place across Europe are beginning to resemble those that are more commonplace in places like the Middle East and South Africa.
It appears this wasn't just a clash on a street corner. To Tommy, it was a snapshot of why Italy voted the way it did, and why so many Europeans are demanding change. And it all started with a camera, a train station, and a question no one wanted to answer out loud.
Given the kind of violence involved, the readiness in which these migrants will attack, it really isn't surprising that Italy has just voted to remove the politicians who brought this upon their own country.
Just like one migrant tried to kill Tommy Robinson, another one ran away from getting killed himself, till he met one-on-one with Tommy to share this very shocking story.
This is Nisser Hussein, and I've contacted Nisser because I've read his story over the years, and I don't think enough people know it. I think if you stop the average person in the British street, they will know nothing about what this man's been through and what his family have been through. I've come here today to try and bring attention on it and bring awareness to the fact of what's happening in our country to many people for expressing their freedom of religion. Tell us about where you was born, when you moved to Bradford, what's happened, and just give us a brief description of how you've ended up here.
Yeah, born and raised in Birmingham, 1965. I actually moved to Bradford.
Nisser Hussein, a man in his 50s, looks calm on the surface, but he's clearly carrying years of pain inside.
7 years ago, 1990, and it's culminated in us leaving Bradford under armed police escort.
Under armed police escort? Because?
We're a convert Christian family. We've suffered persecution for 16 years. The police, the West Yorkshire Police, or Bradford Police rather, haven't acknowledged it as a religious hate crime up to the point of my attack.
16 years prior to this special interview, Nisser had converted from Islam to Christianity while living in Bradford, England. As he explained, that decision changed everything he's ever known. Almost overnight, his life turned into a nightmare. Neighbors he had known for years began threatening him. Bricks were thrown through his windows. Shouting and abuse became routine. His family lived in fear, never knowing what might happen next.
They used baseball bats, was it?
Yeah, it was pickaxe handles.
And they went for your head?
The first blow went for the side of my head. Yeah. As I blocked it, my hand literally exploded with the force of the hit. It reeled me backwards, and I caught my heel on the curb, and I fell backwards and I hit the back of my head against the wall behind me. I was concussed, and I literally got pummeled. And if it wasn't for these two Polish neighbours of mine, several doors up the way, who just happened to be outside, came dashing to my aid and saw them off, I probably wouldn't be here telling you the story. In that particular...
From the CCTV footage on screen, which he fortunately took possession of, you could see groups of men gathered outside his house late at night, ready to launch more attacks. Police vans eventually arrived, but according to Nisser, nothing meaningful followed. The officers were afraid to act, worried about being accused of targeting Muslims or being labeled Islamophobic.
In November of 2015, June of 2015, I had information through a mosque meeting that the extended family a few doors away from us, who were the catalyst to our problems at that particular address, were out to have me done over. So I reported to the police, and they dismissed it. There was a witness to it as well. What we were being subjected to on a daily basis, which amounts, we had 50 thugs lined up outside our home for 18 minutes on the CCTV. And I phoned this sergeant chappie directly, and I said, "This is what's happening." And he said, "I'm sending some response cars." They never did.
They never sent response cars to your house?
No, they never did. I've been stopped outside church doors, actually, by an angry mob with a baby in my arms, you know. I was told by a shopkeeper, a young man, when I walked with two of my children, that had I been in the Middle East, this is bearing in mind, about 18, 19 years ago, had I been in the Middle East or Pakistan, he'd be the first to...
At this moment, Tommy asked about the authorities, the church, the people who were supposed to help. Nisser's answer only made things darker.
Coming out of Islam, I've lost everything. Brothers, sisters, parents. My father died in 2011. He was estranged from me for over 15 years, and even when he died, nobody phoned me up to say, yeah, your dad's died.
So what was it like for your kids living there? Were they targeted? Were they abused? What was it like in school for them?
Yeah, they've known nothing but persecution since they were knee high. You know, actually, my oldest boy, he's well, should I say, he was 8, and the girls are 2 years apart, respectively, and they've known nothing for the last 16 years, almost 17 years, but persecution by my so-called own kind. I can't express to you in words the misery, the fear, the daily intimidation, and the daily thought of not only being seriously injured, but also being killed, actually. The last 2 years, we were prisoners in our own home. And of course, the kids are living in constant fear. What will happen to my dad as soon as he walks out the door? Will I make it back home? You know, nothing could have prepared me for this, absolutely.
He said even church leaders failed him. From all indications, it's clear enough to understand the message. Polite refusals, closed doors.
Injustice is so painful. I struggle to try to give you words as to the injustice that we've gone through, you know, and suffered over very, very many years, and the collusion, the corruption of the police of Bradford. They're in complete denial, and I think it's simply the case that they don't want to upset any... It's appeasement. They've seen me being attacked on numerous occasions, cars torched, cars rammed, drive-by brickings. It literally has been a war zone. I've tried my best in my capacity to turn to church folk, every folk, you know, MPs, you know, and we've just been shut down. I've had the most awful betrayal by 3 bishops of Bradford, two previous and this current Bishop Toby Howarth. David James back in 2005 in a face-to-face meeting told me he wouldn't welcome converts to the church. And you have the likes of Nick Baines. He's now the bishop of the Leeds and the Dales, you know, and Justin Welby's over at Sudan right now. He's over there campaigning for religious freedoms, and I have been deliberately sort of willfully failed by them. And maybe it impacts on their interfaith, you know, projects, the ecumenicalism. And Justin Welby has also turned his back on me and walked away. I met him in a convention in June 2014, and he knew who I was. He was a bit anxious. I was actually speaking to a black bishop, Bishop Josiah, who's been celebrated for his interfaith promotion. And I walked up to him and said, "I'm Nisser Hussein. We're a convert Christian family. We're being annihilated." The gentleman's jaw just dropped, actually, and Justin Welby came dashing on the podium, and he led him by the arm away from me. And I said to him, "Mr. Welby, I need to speak to you. I need 2 minutes of your time. It's about us as a family, and we're converts, and we're being destroyed." And actually, he said, "Well, they're doing all they can." I said, "No, you're not. The bishops have failed me." And he completely dismissed it and just walked away. "We're doing all we can," he said, and he walked away. He just didn't want to engage.
Even a few politicians who he went to, like Nash Shah, the Labour MP for Bradford West, ignored him. Instead of helping, they choose community harmony over protecting a man whose life was under threat.
Local politicians, local political figures.
More recently, Nash Shah has been an absolute disgrace. Actually, after 3 failed appointments, she's...
When you say failed appointments?
Well, I contacted her and said, "Look, you know, you're my new MP now, actually, and you need to support us, help us as an MP." And I outlined the whole facts, and her initial email was, "Look, okay, I need to help you." Oh my God, shock horror. And then we'll meet the following week. When the following week came, a few days before, she said to me, I can't make this appointment, let's do it for the following week. Similarly, the following week, she emails me again and says that she needs to take advice. And can we meet the following week? And then the third appointment, actually, when I went to confirm a day or two before, am I okay now to come and meet with you? There was absolutely no response, and despite my best efforts, she never responded again. You know, it's a case of not what you know, but who you know. Her office manager, Mohammed Shabir, actually is very closely linked to the family that had created with a catalyst. Just fairly recently, Sarah Champion, the MP for Rotherham, spoke out and said, you know, get real or something of that nature. It is a Pakistani problem. She's absolutely right. I'm a Pakistani, born and raised, and I would say to her, she is absolutely right because of the political correctness, and so she and I'm led to believe Naz Shah has got 100 of her MP buddies, and they've ousted Sarah Champion. It is just gutter politics.
Then came one of the most disturbing moments, where Nisser describes how his car was rammed off the road at night. Another attempt he believed to kill him. At this moment, Tommy reacted with disbelief, saying out loud what many viewers were likely thinking.
In fear, in the UK, within the Islamic communities, who want to express their freedom?
I certainly can't quantify and say to you 100,000s, but I know there's many thousands. And you know, you mentioned earlier about support as well as the church failure. Christians in general, besides one charity, and I've got to mention the Barnabas Fund. But I would say, looking back now, how used I was to set up a charity called Safe Haven with Christian concern. Actually, and it's come to nothing. This very headstrong lady, Andrea Williams, has turned her back, shelved me actually, and run off with my baby. So at some point, what I would love to do, and I'm very passionate about this, having gone through this thing and suffered with over 16 years of my life, and my family along with me, is to set up a charity involving support for converts and those who are leaving Islam. I have every sympathy with the atheists as well, who leave Islam and having a very terrible ordeal as well, actually.
Nisser was forced to move again and again. His children were traumatized. Imagine feeling like an exile in your own country. Still, the small fire of resolve kept burning inside of him.
So, ideally, I don't feel the time is ripe right now because I'm concentrating on my health.
When you say your health as well, what did you do for work?
Previously, I was a nurse. I'm from a nursing background.
And you're not working now?
No.
Is this to do with your attacks?
Yes, yeah. Diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder.
So you're living with post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yeah, I have been for very many years actually, and also still have a few issues with the fallout of the attack in November 2015. That's more physical as well. Yeah.
Since you've been quite vocal about leaving Islam, have you had a lot of other people contact you in similar positions? Yeah,
can I just say very quickly, I haven't been vocal per se. It's just that it's gone out like wildfire.
Because of the
news. You're told by your best friend, or you thought he was your best friend, a fellow Pakistani chap, never come to his house again. He then tells somebody, it then goes out like wildfire, and before you know it, you're suffering immeasurably. You're this instant contempt. You know, you could be best of brothers the one minute, and as soon as they found out you're converted,
listening to Nisser, you begin to wonder how many more stories of targeted Britons are left untold.